There is a book that has been read by over 200 million people around the world. It looks like a children's story. But it is not really for children. It is about loneliness, about love, about what it means to truly see someone. This is The Little Prince, written by Antoine de Saint-Exupéry. And by the end of this story, the world will look a little different to you. When the narrator was 6 years old, he saw a picture of a boa constrictor swallowing an animal whole. Inspired, he drew his own picture, a lumpy oval shape. He showed it to the grown-ups and asked, "Does this frighten you?" They looked at it and said, "Why would a hat frighten anyone?" It was not a hat. It was a boa constrictor that had swallowed an elephant, but the grown-ups could not see it. So the boy gave up his dream of being a painter and became a pilot instead. Years passed. He learned to talk to grown-ups about things they cared about. Weather, golf, numbers. He never showed anyone his drawing again, until one day, his plane broke down in the middle of the Sahara Desert, 1,000 miles from any human being, water running out, life on the line. And then, at sunrise, he heard a small voice, "If you please. Draw me a sheep." Standing before him was a very small, very serious boy, golden hair, a long scarf, eyes full of wonder. The pilot was stunned. This was no lost child. The boy was not afraid, not hungry, not thirsty. He simply stood there, waiting for his sheep. The pilot tried to draw one. The boy rejected it. Too sick. He drew another. Too old. Another. That is a ram. It has horns. Finally exhausted, the pilot drew a box and said, "The sheep is inside." The boy's eyes lit up. "That is exactly what I wanted." Slowly, over the days that followed, the pilot learned the truth about this strange visitor. The little prince came from a tiny planet, barely bigger than a house, far away in the universe, on a rock no larger than asteroid B612. On that tiny planet, the little prince lived alone. He spent his days pulling up baobab sprouts before they could split the planet apart, cleaning out his volcanoes and watching the sunset. On a bad day, he once watched the sunset 44 times, and then, one day, a single seed blew onto his planet. A new plant. A flower. This was no ordinary flower. She took days to bloom, carefully arranging each petal. When she finally appeared, she yawned and said, "I was born at the same moment as the sun." She was beautiful. And she knew it. She asked for water. She complained about drafts. She demanded a glass globe at night. She talked about tigers and thorns and other worlds, things she had no way of knowing. The little prince tended to her carefully, watered her, protected her. But her vanity confused him. Her words hurt him. And one day, without knowing how to love her properly, without understanding that what she showed was pride but what she felt was love, he left. He said goodbye. She did not beg him to stay. She simply said, "Of course I love you. I've been foolish. Try to be happy." He did not understand until much later how much she meant to him. The little prince traveled through space, visiting 6 planets before reaching Earth. Each planet held a different kind of grown-up. The first was a king who ruled everything, but had no subjects. He gave orders that matched what was already going to happen and called it authority. The second was a conceited man who lived alone but needed applause. He asked the little prince to admire him, over and over, even though there was no one else on his planet to compare himself to. The third was a tippler, who drank to forget that he was ashamed of drinking. A sad, circular loop the little prince could not untangle. The fourth was a businessman who counted stars and claimed to own them. He never looked up, never enjoyed them. He simply wrote down numbers and locked them in a drawer. The fifth was a lamplighter who turned his lamp on and off every minute because his planet spun so fast. He followed orders that no longer made sense. But unlike the others, he was thinking of something beyond himself, and the little prince almost wanted to be his friend. The sixth was a geographer who recorded mountains and rivers, but never went outside to see them. He told the little prince that flowers were not worth recording because they were ephemeral, temporary, fleeting. That word stopped the little prince cold. "My flower is ephemeral. And I have left her on my planet, all alone. It was his first moment of real regret. The geographer sent him to the seventh planet, Earth. The little prince landed in the desert of Africa. The first living thing he met was a snake, golden, thin as a finger, coiled in the sand. The snake spoke in riddles, and it offered something unsettling. I can help you someday, if you grow too homesick for your own planet. The little prince moved on. He crossed the desert. He climbed a mountain and heard only his own echo. He walked for a long time until he came upon a garden full of thousands of roses. He stared. His rose, the one he had watered, sheltered, cared for, had told him she was unique in all the universe. And here were 5,000 just like her. I thought I was rich, he said, but I only had a common rose. He lay down in the grass and cried. And that is when the fox appeared. "Come and play with me," said the little prince. "I am not tamed," said the fox. "What does tame mean?" The fox explained. "To tame is to establish ties. Right now you are nothing to me, and I am nothing to you. But if you tame me, you become unique in the world to me, and I become unique to you." The little prince understood. "I think my flower has tamed me," he said. Together they sat in the grass, every day a little closer, every day the bond growing stronger. And when it was time to leave, the fox cried. But he said, "It has done me good because of the color of the wheat fields." The golden grain that reminded him of the little prince's golden hair would never look the same again. Then the fox shared his secret. It is only with the heart that one can see rightly. What is essential is invisible to the eye. And then he added, "It is the time you have wasted for your rose that makes your rose so important." The little prince returned to the garden of roses. He looked at them differently now. "You are beautiful," he told them, "but you are empty. No one has tamed you. My rose is more important than all of you, because she is mine, because I watered her, sheltered her, listened to her, because she is my rose." The little prince had been on Earth for a year, and now it was time to go back. But going back meant returning through the stars without his body. It meant the snake. The pilot found him sitting on a ruined wall in the desert, speaking to the yellow snake below. "You have good poison? You are sure it will not make me suffer too long?" The pilot ran to him, held him, begged him not to go. But the little prince was calm. "My body is too heavy. I cannot carry it with me. But it will be like an old abandoned shell. There is nothing sad about old shells." He promised the pilot something. "In one of the stars I shall be living. In one of them I shall be laughing. And so when you look up at the sky at night, you alone will have stars that can laugh." That night, as they walked through the desert, the little prince sat down one last time. He whispered, "My flower. I am responsible for her. She is so weak. She has only 4 thorns to protect herself against all the world." And then a flash of yellow near his ankle. He fell as gently as a tree falls. No sound, only the soft sand beneath him. At sunrise his body was gone. 6 years later the pilot still thinks about him. At night he looks up at the stars, and they sound like 500 million little bells. But there is one thing that haunts him. He forgot to draw the leather strap for the sheep's muzzle. Without it, the sheep could escape. And if the sheep escapes, it might eat the rose. So he wonders, every day, has the sheep eaten the flower? Because somewhere, on a tiny planet no bigger than a house, there is a rose with 4 small thorns who is waiting. And whether she is still there, whether she is safe, matters more than any number, any title, any amount of stars you could own and lock in a drawer. The fox said it best. What is essential is invisible to the eye. We spend our whole lives chasing things we can see. Status, money, followers, proof. But the things that truly matter, a rose you watered every morning, a laugh you will never forget, a friendship that changed the color of wheat fields forever, those things cannot be measured, only felt. The little prince knew this. The question is, do we? That was The Little Prince by Antoine de Saint-Exupéry. If this story moved you, let it. That means it worked. See you in the next one.